The Miami Dolphins have fired Brian Flores. Wow. This has been very shocking news lately for a lot of people that have covered it. It's been out for a while now. It's pretty much been about a week now as I'm recording this, and by the time this video comes out, it'll definitely be about a week or two by the time he did get fired. As a head coach, he went 24-25 over his tenure with the Dolphins as the head coach. This season, the Dolphins finished 9-8. They started the season 0-7, and then they went on a 7-game win streak. It's the first time an NFL team has ever done something like that, and not only that, they also had a chance to make the playoffs after starting the season at an 0-7 record. Keep in mind, that literally means they had the worst record in the NFL, like competing with the Jaguars and Lions, who both have the first and second overall pick. That is ridiculous. The fact that they came back and were able to rally like that at the end of the season is just amazing, especially with all the injuries and stuff that they went through during earlier in the season and stuff like that. But it was very shocking news. And like I said, many people have already covered it and stuff. And for me personally, I wanted to wait a little bit longer until all the information came out and stuff, because I didn't want to rush to it. You know, obviously most news places, media and stuff like that will cover it the day literally of or after, as soon as the firing happens, right then and there. And knowing that, I wanted to make sure that I had as much information as possible. So, obviously, like I said, I don't think anyone expected this to happen, but here we are. And a lot of things have come out since then. And I'm just super glad I've waited to this point to speak on this situation. And before I continue, just remember these are rumors. Now, sometimes rumors have a lot of truth to them. Sometimes they can have a lot of lies to them. This is a he said, she said type of deal. Usually anything like this that happens is usually like that. And pretty much the main topic is his firing, Brian Flores, his firing was mainly caused by the fact that it wasn't because of his coaching and his ability to coach. You know, essentially, he was a good coach. He knew what he was doing, all right? It wasn't any fact against that. And also, I've seen the media trying to spin the topic, not just by saying, you know, it could be his coaching, also to try to, not everybody, but I see media trying to spin the topic into like a race issue, which is just kind of weird. I think it's just another, I just feel like most of the media just don't know football, so they just come up with this weird reason to come out. I don't know, it's just a weird story to me, because he's a black head coach. I don't know why that has anything to do with football at all. I mean, this is sports. I'm all for everyone's opinion. Everyone has the right to say whatever they want, but it's just false. It's not a race issue. So the media that is trying to turn this into something more drastic is just ridiculous. And it's not me being political or anything like that. To me, race isn't politics unless you turn it into that. And at the end of the day, we're all human beings, and we should all care about each other regardless. Let's not make this into something that it isn't. And what it isn't is, it's not his coaching. It has nothing to do with his race. It's the fact that it's the personnel, it's the front office, it's Brian Flores. It's that whole group where you have the GM, the owner, and the coach, and the players where they don't get along. And that's the main issue here. It's that the rumors are Brian Flores did not get along well enough with the GM, the owner, and Tua and other specific players in the whole roster, essentially. And obviously, do I know if that's true? I don't know. Most of the time when I knew Brian Flores, some people learn that he's a player's coach, and you can kind of see that. I mean, he rallied a whole team back from 0-7 to 9-8 by the end of the season. Like, I mean, that shows you have something, right? I mean, you can't just be a terrible coach, and if you can rally a team to do that, I mean, that just shows you have some type of people skills. But in a way, even though maybe some of the players or most players like you, main rumors were that the GM, the owner, and most of the top players like Tua, or maybe not even Tua, but some players just did not get along with him. And that's pretty much the main reason. And I know that sounds silly, but another rumor is that they've been trying to spin, I don't know if it's true or not, but another rumor came out saying that the main reason why they did not get along very well, Brian Flores and the GM and the owner and the whole organization, was just because in the 2020 NFL draft, Brian Flores wanted Justin Herbert over Tua, and the GM and the owner wanted Tua over Justin Herbert, so they took Tua instead. They went against what Brian Flores wanted for his team, the team he wanted to coach. And personally, I think that makes sense. That's why he would maybe not get along with them at all or anything, but in a way, it possibly doesn't add up either. And like I said, it's a he, she said, he said type of ordeal where it's like, if that's true, that's really weird, because most of the time the GM does give freedom, most of the time, to the coach, because the GM believes in the coach, and usually the GM and the coach are usually right on the same page. If you weren't, why would you hire him in the first place on this? The GM is bad, which in a way, to me, the Dolphins GM is not the best, but I guess it just depends, and I guess what we can say here is whether or not any of this information is true, Brian Flores can coach, but there's rumors saying that he has issues with people skills, getting along with people, essentially. And all I can say is if he gets another head coaching job, which I believe he will, because he can coach, he's really good at coaching, but it's his people skills, and also not only that, being an offensive, being able to not get every time he hires like an offensive coordinator or an O-line coach or anything like that, it fails every season. They've had a new offensive coordinator. They've had a new offensive coordinator and a new coach for the offensive line and stuff every single season. They've had to fire every single one. Don't quote me on that, but I believe they have. And that is a problem. And that shows that Brian Flores is great as a coach. He can turn defenses into elite, like any defense practically. And yet, you can't hire a good offensive coordinator. You can't get a good coach for your own line. That's kind of sketchy. And we also found out in rumors that the reason that there are rumors swirling that Deshaun Watson wanted to come to the Dolphins was because of Brian Flores. And I was kind of thinking it was the GM and the owner, but it wasn't. The main reason Deshaun Watson was being rumored to be in talks to the Dolphins or anything like that was because of Brian Flores. And now there's rumors going around that whichever team Brian Flores gets hired by, Deshaun Watson wants to go to that team. So pretty much Deshaun Watson is rumored to be a package deal with Brian Flores for whoever team hires him, if any team does hire him. So At this point, obviously, the GM and the owner, Tua is their guy. Now, do we know if the Justin Herbert situation actually happened between them? No. Will we ever find out? Possibly. We have to see Brian Flores' actions here in the future if he gets hired. I know I'll be watching him and seeing how that works, because either way, in one of these situations, I know one side usually wins and loses. Anytime there's a coach firing that gets hired somewhere else or anything like that, one side wins, one side loses. And whether or not the whole Justin Herbert Tua situation was real or not, we'll find out. I mean, like I said, Brian Flores is a good coach. He can coach. But is he going to get hired for the fact that there's been rumors that he's not a good coach when it comes to the aspect of getting along with upper management and certain players, the way he handles himself with people? That is my real question. And also, not only that, can he actually hire a good offensive coordinator on a different team and actually get the offense to work correctly? Because honestly, what I think the Dolphins are going to do at this point, I think they're going to hire an offensive coach at this point. I don't know if they're going to hire another defensive coach. I think they're going to hire an offensive coach because they want to get a coach in there that will work with Tua and get him to play as best as he can, bring the best out of him. I do believe Tua can be a franchise quarterback. Do I believe he's one right now? No. I do believe he has the potential to. Now, do I believe he can be as good as Justin Herbert? Probably not. But I believe in Tua, and if they can bring in the right guy to come in and help Tua, I think that they'll be able to get him to become that franchise quarterback, and hopefully we'll see what the Dolphins will do.